everybody. Thank you for joining us as we introduce Coach Jim Barnes. We will not have a transcript today. With that, we'll start with some opening remarks from Director of Athletics, Gary Barta, who will introduce Coach Barnes. Gary?
All right, thanks, Matt, and thanks everybody for being here. It's an exciting day. Before I formally and excitedly introduce Coach Barnes, just a couple of thank yous that, and maybe this will be helpful to understand the perspective. For Lila Clary, our senior associate, and Barbara Burke, our deputy, and then the search committee, to have gone out and not only found the right person, but to do it at a time of year, the holidays. You know, we were trying to squeeze in the holidays. We were all the staff was getting ready for the bowl game, so to find the right person at a time where there's a lot of other things going on, just really grateful to Lila and Barbara and several others that were involved in the search. But with that said, I am thrilled to introduce Coach Barnes, Jim Barnes. He comes to us with 24 years experience as a head coach. He's been through this process of building from the ground, building a strong foundation, and then having great success. He's done it, we're familiar with, he's done it at several places, but certainly Tulane and Baylor and Wyoming. He's shown the ability to win. In fact, I think 454 wins during his career, and became the all-time winningest coach during his time at Baylor. Then beyond that, so clearly he's proven that he can win. He's a recruiter. He earned the distinction of having several of the best recruiting classes in the Big 12 and nationally ranked recruiting classes during his time there. So he comes to us with a lot of experience. And then finally, you all know our value statement: win, graduate, and do it right. And not only has he created a culture of winning, but also academically. His teams are always 3-point high, or higher. I think I saw a couple years ago 3.5 team GPA. Graduation success rate the last 2 years at Tulane have been 100%. So somebody who, again, kind of has the big picture, the win, graduate, do it right mentality. So we're just thrilled to have Jim. His wife Tracy is here, as well as Brooke and Jenna, right? I'm sorry, where's Jenna? Yep, I got that right. They're in the back here. They're here kicking the tires. Well, I guess we've already sold the car. So they're here not just kicking the tires, but taking the drive. And but we're just thrilled to have you guys joining us, especially Tracy. And welcome to the family. Welcome to the community. And with that said, just excited to introduce the 11th head volleyball coach at the University of Iowa, Coach Jim Barnes.
Thank you, everyone, for coming on out today. Just a true honor and privilege to be here at the University of Iowa. And I got a lot of people to thank. Just want to start with thanking all of you for coming out. First, I got to thank my family for this. My wife Tracy, my daughters Brooke and Jenna, and my coaches I've worked with. Just grateful for your support. Just a huge thanks for the leadership here at the University of Iowa. I was completely impressed and just amazed at just the commitment, the level of commitment, passion, and love for this university. Coming from Gary, coming from Barbara, coming from Lila. Had an incredible experience with them, just learning more and more about this university and what they want to do with this program. And so because of that relationship, I think the leadership here is going to help this program get to where it needs to be. The hiring committee, just a great group of people who helped every step of the way learn more about this university and what needs to be done. And so I thank the hiring committee, especially Barb Randall, who's a former All-American volleyball player who I enjoyed getting to talk with, and just everyone involved in the process. You guys do things right here. You got good people here, and that's what I kept hearing over and over, why people stay here. It's because people treat each other right. They got a passion for this place, and that's the elements you need to build something special. So I want to thank all of you. I did my homework. I value preparation quite a bit. My players know that, and so when I looked at the University of Iowa and looking at trying to build this program, it has in place the things that you need to be a perennial top 25 program. And I believe everybody would love to see this program be at that level. And it has the elements. It has the leadership that you need to get there. It has the passion from the community. This state, people love volleyball here. They want to see it to be a great program. That passion is huge. You need to have that bloodline of passion to build a program. And then you look at the talent in this state and in this region. Volleyball's on fire in this region. There's great players all through this state, and we're going to fight to make sure we keep as many as them as we can within this program. Because I know you're watching the Final Four in the championship game. You're seeing Iowa playing for the Nebraska, Iowa playing for Wisconsin. There's a lot of great players out there playing for top programs. We want to be that program where they want to come play. And so the elements are all there. The Big Ten, it's the best volleyball conference by far. So you have that element there that the best players in the country want to play the best. They want to be in this league. So there's so much to recruit to here. There are so many elements that can help us be that top 25 program and bring a lot of pride to this university that is needed for a while. And so I know me and my staff will outwork everyone. We will have the passion to come in here and get it right. And our players will be treated very well. And that's why you'll see them stay in this program and not want to leave, because they like the environment we put out for them. So just want to thank everyone, for the whole process and what's going forward. This is just the first step to a lot of steps. I know that. I'm not walking into this blind. There's going to be a lot of steps, but I can guarantee you every step's going to be done very thoughtfully, very planned, and it's going to be with a group effort. It's going to be a team effort. I can't do this on my own. It's going to take everybody stepping forward together to make it happen. So there you go. If you guys have any questions about the process, I'll be happy to chat with you. Yep.
So you're inheriting a program that I think was 193rd in RPI, and as you mentioned, Big Ten, one of the preeminent volleyball conferences, probably D1. How do you break into that upper tier? That part of that's, through our history, of building programs. We took over at Tulane, we were 260, I believe, when we got there. In the first year, we were in the top 80. It was the biggest improvement in the country. It's a process, and it takes everyone to make that happen. You got to get, players with the talent and the commitment. You can't do it without the talent and commitment. And we're going to get the players, and the players on the team are going to understand the commitment level that it's going to need, to get to that level. Our first goal is to go in there and beat the teams in the middle. Beat those teams in the middle of the Big Ten. When you talk about Purdue, the Michigans, the Illinois, we're going to get the talent and the commitment of players that are going to get us to there. And then when we get to that level, we're going to attract the talent and the commitment of the athletes that can get us to that next level and go to that next step. So it's a plan and it's a process, and we're aware of it, and me and my staff will be working to make that happen. And then realistically, how quickly do you see this rebuild taking?
I'm learning that daily, honestly, because we're rebuilding this, team, and we're going to get this team working together. That's my first goal, I'm learning every individual part, every person in this program and people around it, because the sum is not going to be any better than the parts, so we've got to make sure every part is right. So we're starting on that process. I can guarantee you this team will play together and hard for each other and for the school. In the first day, on the first game, they will be after it to play for this school. You'll see a team play hard for one another. The wins will then start taking care of themselves as we go. But we want to be a top 25 program. We want to be a program in the Big Ten that's in the tournament every year and is something that's talked about nationally.
Anything you've learned you've had a lot of experience at Baylor with some ups and some downs. Anything you've learned from that process now as you start this process here at Iowa?
Yeah, I could write several books on the things, 12 years and what you learn, at that level. When we took over at Baylor there, the Big 12 was the strongest it had ever been, because they had Nebraska still in the league, and Missouri and Colorado, these schools that aren't in it now. So it was a juggernaut when we took over. And so we learned, again, the process of getting to that middle pack and then getting to the next level. All that, is what certainly
a lot of that experience is going to help us here because we're in a very similar situation. Baylor was at the very bottom when we got there. In our 5th year, we got them to the Sweet 16. So it's a process. I think Iowa has way more upside and the ability to really get there. So we're looking forward to it.
High school volleyball talent in this state has always been top drawer, as you know, Coach. The tradition, the history, that obviously wasn't lost on you when you were doing your research, I'm sure.
No, not at all. This region, to be consistently a great program, you've got to be able to draw from the state and the region. You can't just have to rely on people further away, and it's all here. The players here to help you be that program you want to be. And that's part of me honestly taking the job, is that I know I can build it with the people in this region. Because as a coach, I want stability. I want players who love this university, who grew up with University of Iowa in their cradle, that they're going to be a part of the building process. And you have the talent in this area, in this region to do that. Makes our lives a lot easier when you got people truly committed and have a history. They're not just coming from far reaches. Now, we're going to recruit coast to coast and find the best talent. We're going to definitely do that. But the core of your team needs to come from this region that's truly going to be committed to it.
How does this new facility, this beautiful arena that you have to recruit to, you've probably seen most of the good ones. How's this one compare?
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility. It's brand new, and it's in a beautiful area of the city, Coralville, and I'm learning a lot about the city quickly. 2 weeks ago, it was no snow, and then come now, and it looks like a different place. Beautiful. But the facility is beautiful. We can recruit to it. We're going to figure out what's the best thing to help, provide the best game day atmosphere for our players and our fans. And so I know this is part of it's just started really there, and we'll figure out what we need to do to get that place packed and get that energy there to help us win games. And honestly, when you create that, you bring recruits in there, and they see that kind of energy. They see that's how you sign them. That's how Nebraska, Wisconsin signing these kids. They go in that kind of environment. So that's going to be a big part of the process, is building that environment to attract those kind of players.
How do you recruit when you have neighboring Nebraska, you have neighboring Wisconsin that can say, hey, come here and play in a national championship?
Right. Well, they can't get all of them, and we can fight for those ones that can compete with these guys. And like I said, the first step's the middle of the pack. Let's go beat those. And when you do that, you're going to start attracting those ones that would consider, a school like like Nebraska or Wisconsin that are close, but they want to stay within the state and help us continue to build it. There's players that love that challenge, instead of just walking into one of the many, walking into one that maybe you could put your face on Mount Rushmore of getting this program to the top. There's some value in that recruiting process.
And then I'm assuming you have had some dialogue now with the current players. How is that process of kind of re-recruiting them to stay here gone?
Yeah, I'm in the middle of that right now. I've talked with the entire team via Zoom, and I've talked individually with everybody on the team, and just, again, making sure all their parts are right and everyone's, communicated with and starting that process from there. So we're doing that with the current team. We're talking with recruits right now. My phone is barely charged right now. It's been burning up. So we've talked with some great players who want to be a part of this program as well in the future. So we've been working since the day Gary said I was the one. I've been burning that phone up. My wife can attest. She hasn't seen me much.
What is it about the Big Ten? It's such a powerhouse league in volleyball. Is it the footprint? Is it?
Well, you got great institutions all across, the conference. You've got the best coaches in the country, throughout the conference. You've got fans who love the game and pack the arenas. I mean, it's not rocket science. Great players want to play where they're watched and where there's a commitment. And and that's where this league has passed the Pac-12, what used to be the best in the league. The Big 12 was in that mix too, and but the Big Ten's really has just soared to the forefront.
What's your philosophy on the transfer portal?
Well, that thing is quite an ongoing, quick accumulation of players. we're, actually learning a lot about what we can do to help our, this program here, because there's a lot of talent in there. And that's why my phone is the way it's not charged. But there's a lot of great players in there. It can help you change some things quickly. On the flip side, it gives some players the ability or thought it's an easy fix to leave. So I think coaches, have to step up even more on making sure they're treating their players right and help them develop. There's a challenge within that portal, and I think there's some fool's gold in it. I think players think there might be an easy fix, and several players are learning that that's not the case. So there's a learning curve through this since it's so new. But we will certainly use it to our advantage to attract talent here.
How do you sort of stabilize things and sort of bring a stable culture to a program like Iowa that's really struggled over the last couple of years?
Yeah, that's the biggest question. Being stable, building that consistency, and I think one of the best things I do as a coach is I build trust. And if you don't have that, you don't have any of the stability. And so with my staff, our players, we build trust with our team, number one, and then with the community, with the club coaches, the parents, all of that. And then when you really have that trust on your team, your players will really get committed now, because they're not going to truly commit to your team unless they trust what's going on and trust the people around them. And then ultimately, you got to have your players sacrifice, and they won't sacrifice unless they're committed. And so that's the whole steps to building that stability. That you have that element, all three of those elements, trust, commitment, sacrifice within your team, then you start becoming consistent and you start winning consistently from there. And everyone loves that part of the process, building that. That's a part of our staff.
Okay.
Great questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, thanks again, everyone. Thank you.